shillings, accessed around 28 billion payback rate. That's around 70% when it comes to repayment rate.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the 5% saving aspect, 1.9 billion shillings. Let's talk about the saving aspect a little bit.
Yeah.
Of course, the Cabinet Secretary had spoken about how 30% of this saving could be accessed in 1 year.
Good.
And the 70% would be a normal savings scheme where you get it when you retire. The 30%. Kenyans are waiting. It's been a year. Can they access those funds?
Yeah, they're going to access.
Tomorrow?
Absolutely.
30th of November?
Absolutely.
So Kenyans have something to look forward
Absolutely. Absolutely. But again also, why the saving?
Right.
That's also very, we need the people to understand why the savings. In this country, we have a workforce of 20 million Kenyans.
Right.
And every year, we have close to 1 million coming into to the job market.
Of course.
But unlike before, when previously, you know, what used to happen is that the turnover in terms of people who are retiring from the civil service or from the public sector was almost equal to people who are coming into the workforce. But we are a young nation at an average age of about 17 years old.
Right.
Our workforce, even in the civil service or even in the private sector, is very young. And you can tell even by looking at within this setup, in this studio, you see people here are fairly very young.
Yes.
So meaning we are not having people who are also, I mean, people who are also retiring so that they can pave space for other people to come in. So people who are formally employed in this country are only 3.5 million out of the 20 million potential workforce.
Right.
What does that tell us? It tells us that the 16.5 million people have to be enabled to create jobs. And how do we enable them to create jobs? There are certain factors that we have to look at. Number one, you cannot run a business also if you're not saving.
Right.
If you do not have some sort of social security where you can fall back in the event of let's say in the event of shocks. Like for example, when now Corona pandemic visited us, a lot of our business went under. That Mama Mboga, who was your favorite Mama Mboga, you stop by every evening from work, mwambie nikatie mboga kidogo kidogo hapo.
Yes.
Because of the social distance protocol, this Mama Mboga had to do what? Had to close up her business, and all of us started now going to supermarket, we call, you know, Uber food, Bolt food, and all those manner of things. So you see now the environment was not so conducive to small businesses, and especially worse of it if you are a micro business operator. So now what happens that if a country has 16.5 million people whom we now have to support to create jobs, to have something that they can put on the table to do, then we have also to look at what factors can make this person achieve that. But you cannot do much if you're also not saving. Right. So we are introducing and promoting a culture of saving as a also to provide a fallback, you know, opportunity in the event we are faced with shocks. In the event those MSMEs are faced with shocks, they don't have to close up or they don't have to sell all their wares, all their stock, you know, and then go back deeper into poverty. So one way of preventing that is to inculcate that culture of saving. So 5%, 70% of that goes to long-term saving.
Right.
Like a pension. Remember, I've said these people, nobody has employed them. They have employed themselves. But that one does not mean that time will not come when they will have to retire.
Right.
Whether you're employed or not, whether you're doing your own business, time will come when your board will even say enough is enough.
Right.
Now you need to sit somewhere and somebody has to take care of them. Instead of our people retiring to poverty, retiring to indecency, it's good to start now providing them with an opportunity where they can save. And by the way, one of the most, the common feedback we've gotten from our beneficiary, which is running across, is that opportunity to save. Because people are telling us, oh, do you know, as a Mama Mboga, what time will I have or will I make to run to the mainstream back, for example, to go and save my 100 bob that I have made every day? Right. And again, because of so much fraudsters, you know, like technology also comes with a lot of bad things. And so people wanted, where can we save so easily? Which platform do you have to save that we can trust? And of course, you can always trust the government because it will always ensure that they protect you, they protect your savings and everything. So many people, especially our beneficiary, has actually applauded that saving component. Right. And we have so many other people who just who are interacting with the Hustler Fund, not to borrow but just to save. You recall that in March this year, we launched the voluntary saving. Right. So when we launched, and we never even made noise about it. We never even went to the media to say, hey, you can now save voluntarily. Right. When President Ruto pronounced himself about that opportunity, the Kenyans who started saving, like our top saver today, as at 1st November this year, a gentleman who lives in Korogocho. I mean, this gentleman has been able to mobilize 634,000 shillings. Right. And his limit, if went to his limit, is only 800 shillings. So you ask him, what motivated? He says saving. And I've been able to save within this 1 year because I want to start up my own business. I want to buy a truck because he's in transport industry, but he works for somebody. Right. So there are people who are feeling so much relief that we have this option. I have been outside this country and I've interacted with the Kenyans in the diaspora, and they tell us their story, how they usually get cheated out, they usually get frauded whenever they send money back home, either through friends and to some extent even some families also. Right. Do them those games. They say, build for me a house, and by the time when you come back, you're thinking you have your house, there is no house. So we heard about this affordable housing, and they were saying, by the way, there's a way through which we can save and start paying little mortgage, you know, for those housing, because at least they trust government. And after what has happened, I mean, the experience we've had so far in the Hustler Fund has showed us one thing. The people really wanted the government hand, the government presence, the government to go to where they are, to feel them, to work with them, to hold their hands. Right. So that's why this initiative has been embraced, because they feel secure. Their savings are going to be secure. But again also, the top borrower